What is up guys, Limo here, and in this video we're going to cover some of my cold approach principles to get consistent dates with women. Now, cold approaching women is a skill like any other. Any man in the world can get better at it if he understands the principles and puts himself out there. Now, unless you're heavily handicapped or you have some serious disease or you're extremely old or extremely young, you're a normal dude who is young enough, not too old, you can do it. Like, if you live in a normal city in the world, you can approach women, meet them, attract them, get some numbers, etc. Now, personally, when I started cold approaching women, I was sucking at it. Like, I remember standing there, my heart racing, feeling like, I just didn't know how to do it. Like, I didn't know how to start the conversation. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to keep it going and how to close the deal. Like, I would see some opportunities every day. I would see girls every day, but I would just stay there paralyzed. Like, I would just hesitate. I would just second guess myself. And as soon as I, kind of mustered up the courage to do it, like, the opportunity would slip away, like she would go. And it was really frustrating. And the worst part is that I was watching other guys with less going for them. Like, I was watching guys who were less good looking, less smart, less well spoken in a way, just connect with women better than I do. And I felt like I was missing out on something. I felt like I was stuck in the sidelines and I was just like overthinking everything. And that frustrated me, and that gave me the drive to really learn this and get good at this. I wanted to learn how to just approach any woman I wanted and make something happen. And so after a few years of investing in myself and putting things into practice, I started getting consistent success. And now it became second nature. I don't even need to think about what to say or what to do. I just know, and that's powerful. Now, let's go over some commandments and principles that will really help you to take action, and as well as some practical tips to help you out with this. So let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to cover is the 10 cold approach commandments. So let's dive in. Number one, you got to go where people are, because volume is key. Like, if you try to approach women in an area where there's no women passing by, it's very quiet, there's no volume, it's going to be hard to just like do it. You got to go to an area where there's a lot of people, maybe like a busy pedestrian street in your city, or a busy mall, or like just find some popular spots in your city, like parks, malls, busy streets, and try to approach women there. That's very, very important. Now, number two, you got to speak up and you got to start the conversations yourself, because talking to people is your ticket to getting into new conversations, and nobody's going to do it for you. So you have to be the one to initiate. Very rarely are women going to initiate. Like, it's very, very rare. So even if you're not the best looking dude, just being friendly, being confident, and being able to approach the girl, just even like sometimes just by saying, hey, what's up? How's it going? Like, that can open up a conversation, and then you can go from there. The opener doesn't really matter. So try to practice small talk with people around you. Like, try to just start a conversation with everyone. Even just start with a compliment. Like, try to compliment people more in your day-to-day life. Like, you see a girl with a nice dress, just compliment her on that. You see a guy, well dressed as well, compliment him on that. Become a more social person who initiates things, because that's gonna open up some avenues of conversations. That's gonna open up some new doors. And the more you practice, the easier it gets. Now, commandment number three is, don't worry about your first few tries. Like, the first two or three approaches are probably going to be awkward, but that's just part of the game. Like, each try, each approach helps you improve. And from there, you build your confidence for the next one. So think of your first few approaches as just like warm-ups. Your first few approaches are just practice warm-ups. One of my mentors, he used to say, like, just sacrifice those lambs, those first two, three lambs, and then the other approaches will go smoothly. Like sometimes just sacrifice your first two, three approaches and be willing to go through that awkwardness to get into the flow state where you're in the zone and you're able to approach women without overthinking. Okay? So now your first approach might go really well as well, but if not, don't sweat it. That's what I'm saying. So the goal is just to get started. The first few tries, it's okay. It's just a warm up. You just practice. No worries. So that's the third thing. Now the fourth thing is that getting her number or contact, that's just the start. Okay, that's not the end game. Getting a number is great, but you got to follow up with those numbers, right? You got to keep the connection alive. If you just get a number to just get a number, well, it doesn't lead to anything. So you have to be willing to follow up correctly, to keep things alive, and to schedule things with her if you want to see her and actually date her. Okay? How many numbers have I taken and then nothing happened? Like I didn't follow up on them. I even forgot to text them. And yeah, so a number doesn't mean anything unless it's backed with a great initial conversation and some great follow up. Now, number 5, if you can, go for the instant date right away. Because if things are clicking and you both have enough time, it's better to hang out right there and then because the vibe is fresh and it's easier to build on that chemistry in the moment. So if the conversation is going well already, well, suggest grabbing a coffee or just checking out a spot nearby or whatever, right? Just ask her what she's up to right now. And if she doesn't have a lot of things to do and you both vibe, just propose something. Just say, hey, you know what? I really like your energy. I wasn't expecting to meet you. Look, I know a really cool place. I'm gonna grab a coffee myself. Come with me. It's on me. Let's check it out. And you can just like lead her to that coffee. If it's just nearby, probably she'll accept, right? Now, number 6, remember the 3-second rule. Like you have to be decisive and take action. If you wait too long, more than 3 seconds to approach a girl, you're probably gonna kill that momentum and you're gonna start overthinking and you're not gonna do it, right? So don't hover around too long before approaching. Decide quickly. You see a girl, you like her, fuck it, just do it. Okay, do or do not. There is no try, as Yoda, sorry, not yoga, Yoda said in Star Wars, right? Now, I'm not a big fan of Star Wars, but this quote is from him. Like, do or do not, there is no try. So just fucking do it, you know? The worst part the worst thing that can happen is they're gonna say no, but at least you will not die with regret. Like, you'll know exactly her response. Okay, you won't wonder like, oh, what if this, what if that, what if I had approached her, I should have done it, blah blah blah, right? So try to minimize regrets in life and just take those actions that you know you should do, whether you feel like it or not, right? Now, number 7, know how to keep things flowing, because a lot of guys, they open a girl and then they get stuck. They don't know how to transition from the opener to the conversation, from like from a normal platonic conversation to a more flirty sexual conversation. Like they don't know how to do all these things, and having a verbal structure and having multiple threads to talk about is going to make everything feel more natural. So you got to learn a few go-to lines and go-to questions. That's good because it's going to give you some material to work with. But at the same time, you also need to understand like the communication principles behind what you do. And you need to be able to smoothly move the conversation forward. And it takes practice and it takes work. But once you have the basics in place, it's going to be easy to sustain conversations. And you can work on this. Like if you learn the proper systems that we teach, you will definitely be able to maintain some long conversations and have consistent dates through cold approach if you do it correctly. Now, number 8, you have to stay organized with your contacts, because as you meet more and more people, it's going to be very easy to lose track of all the girls you've talked with. So what I recommend is having like a quick note on Apple Notes or on your phone. Myself, I use a software called Things 3, or you can use something like Trello. Inside my program, we cover the women management system. which is a system that allows you to manage all the girls you've been talking with and all the girls in your funnel, from the girls you just met to the girls you've already dated to the girls that you're planning to date. And so that way you can have like a bird's eye view of all your kind of dating pipeline, let's say, and know exactly where you're at with each girls. You don't need to wonder, oh, you know, when should I text her? Who's this girl? Blah, blah, blah. Like you have everything, all the contacts, her name, the date at which you should follow up again. So it's very, very clear. Like it's almost like a CRM in sales. Like you got to keep things organized. Otherwise you lose track. Like it's impossible to memorize all the girls in your head. If you approach consistently, you're gonna forget, right? Now, number 9, go after who you really want. That's one thing as well. Don't just settle for just anyone. I know in the beginning, a lot of guys tell you to approach girls that are average or even below average to just build the confidence. And I think, yeah, you could do that. Like you could approach like an old lady, or you could approach like some overweight chick. But at some point you gotta also really go for the women that you're genuinely attracted to, because it's gonna be more, it's gonna bring you more satisfaction. Like go for the woman you truly want. If there's a girl that's truly intimidating at your gym, or a girl you see in the street that's really kind of intimidating, like she looks really hot, like beautiful body, beautiful face, etc., then just go up, just go up, and and you'll see that you're gonna have much more better results, because girls can feel it, they can sense it when you're truly attracted or not. And personally, I have way better game when it's a girl that I'm truly attracted to. Because when the stakes are higher, I don't know, you kind of like have more of that drive to make it work. So go after who you really want as well. Like don't be afraid of going after the girls who are truly kind of intimidating. Because actually those girls that are like, let's say 8 out of 10 and above, like the girls that are 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, whatever, these girls, a lot of them are not getting hit up as much because most guys are actually intimidated to walk up. And so if you walk up to them, you'll see that you'll be surprised. Some of them are actually, they like that. They're waiting for that. So don't shy away from approaching the girls you truly, truly want. Don't settle for like an average girl, where you could be approaching a girl that's like a 10 out of 10. I mean, obviously, there's no 10, nobody's perfect, but you see what I mean? Like a girl that's truly beautiful, right? Now, number 10, have fun and enjoy the process. It's called game for a reason. It's a game, it's fun, it's light, it's playful. And when you're having a good time, people can tell. So be relaxed, enjoy yourself. Um, you know, don't just focus on the outcome of like, oh, I just want to get the number, I just want to get the date. No, enjoy the process, make it fun, laugh about it, right? Treat it as a joke, right? Because when you have fun and you're genuinely, having a great day already and just sharing the vibes with girls, you'll see that your conversations are gonna go way more smoothly. But if you have an agenda and you're super like, you know, stuck up on your agenda and you want to make it work and you need it to work and you pressure yourself a lot, well, that's when you have this fear of rejection. That's when you put yourself, you have more anxiety, you start, acting a bit differently, less naturally. So that's one thing I want to say. Now let's go over some practical cold approach tips. All right. So number one, at the end of the day, you just got to do it. Like having a bit of anxiety is natural. We all have a bit of anxiety, but you'll see the more you approach, the easier it gets. So always focus on action, not perfection. Okay. The biggest challenge is not external, it's internal. It's overcoming your own fear, your own hesitation. And if you can do that, you'll get good at this. Now, let's talk about the best openers. So, the best openers, in my opinion, are those that are based on the situation or something specific about the woman. If you are present and you notice something about the girl that you see right away, open with that. You see that she has like some, you know, special style or you see something that stands out, well, open with that, right? Commenting on how she dresses or something that stood out, right? And this will look more smooth than using like just some memorized line, okay? Another way to approach, and this is honestly one of my favorites, is just being very direct. Like, hey, I know this is random, but I just saw you. I just wanted to come up and meet you real quick, right? Something like that. Now you have to say it with the right tone, the right eye contact, etc. But something along these lines of like, hey, I know it's random, but I just saw you. You looked interesting. I wanted to come say hi. Where are you from? Or what's your name? And just starting off that way, very direct with intent, is honestly for me one of the best ways to approach a girl randomly like that in the street or in some public setup, right? Now, in a club and all of that, it's different. Like if it's in a dance floor, you have to. It's different. You're not gonna say the same thing. But in the street or at the mall or something like that, well, for me, those are the best openers. Now, as a general rule, the more interest you display in the approach, the more power you give away. So if you tell the girl right away, "Oh, you're so beautiful. I just saw you. I fell in love with you already." Blah, blah, like you're giving too much power away, right? On the other hand, the less interest you display, the more power you maintain. So if you tell her like, "Hey, I saw you. You looked interesting, but I don't know. I feel like you're trouble," right? Well, you see how you maintain a bit of power there because you're like, oh, you seem interesting, but blah blah blah. Like you're not giving her all the power away, right? And since power and attraction are linked, maintaining power increases your effectiveness, and therefore it increases the attraction of the girl initially, right? So if you're a beginner, you might need to be a bit more direct because you don't want to be too platonic. A lot of beginners, one of the mistakes is they're too platonic, they're not flirty, they're very logical. However, if you're a bit more advanced, then try to balance, showing a bit of interest, but not stating your intentions too quickly and being overtly direct. So there's like a balance, right? There's really a balance to that. So that's one thing. So it's not how much interest you show, but how much you show compared to her interest levels as well. So if you see that she's interested and you're both interested, then great. But the smaller your interest compared to hers, the more power you have. So if she feels, if like she is more interested in you than you are in her, obviously you have the power. However, if the conversation feels like, oh, you're way more interested in her than she's in you, then you lose the power, right? So if you show interest and if she likes you and reciprocates, then that's great because the frame at that point is we really like each other and it's a win-win frame. However, if you're very direct and she seems like not that enthusiastic, etc., then you start with the frame. You're kind of in a losing frame there because like she has the power now, you know. So that's one thing. Just keep that in mind. Just these are just some thoughts. Okay. Now, some smooth elements that you can add to your approach are number one, a time constraint. So when you approach a woman, what you can do is you can tell her, hey, I have to go real soon or I have to go real quick, but I just wanted to say hi. Something like that, where like you let her know that you're not gonna linger around too much. And this is gonna make her more comfortable. Like this is gonna make her feel like, okay, this guy is busy as well. His time is valuable. He just took a bit of his time to meet me. So it puts more scarcity on your time, and it's great. So because everything that's scarce is more valuable, like gold, right? Gold is valuable because it's scarce. So if you say, hey, real quick, I'm kind of in a hurry, but I just saw you. I wanted to meet you real quick. Or hey, I have to join some friends right now, but I don't know, you caught my eye. I had to come say hi, right? Something like that. That's going to be great. Now, number two, the second element you can add to your approaches is a statement of empathy. So acknowledging what she's doing or acknowledging what she may be thinking, because that's going to take the pressure off and it shows that you have social intelligence. So for example, you tell her, let's say you see a girl that's shopping or you see a girl that's on her phone. Well, you can acknowledge that. You can say, hey, I know you were on your phone, or hey, I know you're shopping right now. Or even just something like, hey, sorry to interrupt. Let's say she was in a conversation with her friend and you're approaching like two girls. Well, you can say, hey guys, sorry to interrupt. I know you guys were talking together, but I just saw you guys and I absolutely loved your style. Where are you guys from? And you're acknowledging what they may be thinking, what they're doing, right? Same thing with, in general, if you approach a girl in the street, you can tell her like, hey, I know this is random. I don't usually do this, but I just want to come say hi to you, right? And that adds some smoothness to the approach in general, okay? Now let's talk about the conversational stages, right? So number one, you have the opening. Any conversation is going to start with an opener. It's either going to be a direct opener, a direct approach, or it's going to be a more indirect opener and therefore a more indirect approach. So a direct approach could be like, hey, I know it's random. I have to go soon, but I just saw you and I don't know, I thought you were cute. I just wanted to meet you real quick, right? Something like that. Now that's very straightforward, but it works. If you have the right tone, the right body language, etc., it's gonna work. She's gonna say thank you, na na na. She's gonna appreciate it. Now, if she's taken already, or if she's not compatible with you in that moment, that's fine. Not every girl is gonna be receptive, but a lot of girls will. Now, the indirect approach could be something like, let's say you're at Starbucks or you're in some coffee shop and you see that a girl ordered like some fancy cake or some fancy drink. Well, you can say, oh, that drink looks amazing. What is it? And then you ask her, oh, where are you from, by the way? And you start, the conversation that way, more indirectly, right? Now, number two, you transition after the opener. So after opening, don't stress about having something crazy to say. Just be grounded and authentic. Just ask her basic things, like get to know her. Just ask her where she's from, what she does here, etc. Now, you want to balance questions with statements. So any question can be turned into a statement. So for example, where are you from could be turned into like, oh, you don't look from here. I bet you're like European or something. Or I mean, it depends where you are in the world, right? It depends how she looks like. Obviously, you got to give a guess that's congruent. But you know, you can always make a guess or make an assumption. And even if you guess wrong, at least it's interesting. Now, after the opener and after the transition, you gotta have this surface level conversations, like from 0 to 3 minutes. You have to ask simple things, basic, like where she's from, what she's up to, her name, etc. How long she's been living here, stuff like that, right? Now you can make it look fun, like, oh, so what do you do here besides breaking hearts? Like things like that, right? Make it playful. Now after that, you can vibe even more. You can start building more attraction. You can tease her on some things. You can inject some playfulness, etc. And we cover all of these things in my program, by the way. Now, number five, after all of that, you can qualify her even more and then close. So that's 6 minutes and beyond. So from 0 to 3 minutes, surface level convo. From 3 to 6 minutes, vibing usually. And then 6 minutes and beyond, you qualify her a bit more, you close. And that way the conversation is really solid. And you can ask her things like, what do you do? What do you do usually on the weekends? Do you like going out? What's your type of guy usually? Have you ever dated like a French guy? Let's say I'm French and I'm in fucking Estonia. I can ask that, right, to an Estonian girl. Or you can ask her if she works out, for example, if she likes going to the gym. You have to qualify the girls on what you're looking for in them. Like if you're looking for a woman who's spiritual, goes to the gym, etc., well, qualify them on that. Like ask them like, hey, do you go to the gym? Do you do yoga? Do you do whatever? And just qualify the girls on what you're looking for. Um, Now, if you want to move things forward into like an instant date or a close, well, you can just ask her what they're up to. Like just ask the girl, what are you up to right now? And if she's not super busy, you can invite her to grab a coffee or a drink right there and then. And remember that taking her number is always a backup plan. Like it's better to strike while the iron is hot. So if you both have time, go for the instant date, as I said before. However, if you guys are busy or whatever, just say something like, hey, was nice talking with you. I love your energy, but I have to go now. Let's connect on Instagram and let's keep in touch for a drink, right? And that's it. Just move things forward that way. Now, throughout the conversation, you gotta have this ability to free associate and make the conversation fun. And this is kind of an art and a science, but there's a way to use creative and emotional associations. So, for example, if she meant So for example, if she mentions that she's from Australia, instead of just stating facts, you can joke about the fact that, in Australia, she probably grew up around crazy spiders and snakes and kangaroos and all of that, like in the wildlife, it's like the wild there. Or if, if she says that she wants to travel, well, you can tell her, well, look, I'm going to Paris next week. I'll take you in my luggage with me. You'll come with me. And you make it fun, and probably she'll laugh. Or you can cold read and make assumptions and make observations that are fun, right? But all of that is something you can work on. Now, in week 3 of my Dating Accelerator program, we cover the full bulletproof approach system. So we cover the ACCQC system, which is a system that shows you how to approach women the right way and how to do it consistently without wasting your time. And in week 4 of my program, we also cover the whole verbal structure. So from open to close, exactly what to say, what are the steps, how to flirt, how to sexualize, how to close the deal, like everything. And throughout my program, it's not just about cold approach. It's also about online. It's also about social circle. It's also about meeting women during nighttime environments, like in nightclubs and all of that. And look, all of my clients, after a few weeks, if they take action, they get some results. Some of them after a few days, like they start getting dates. Some of them get 1, 2, 3 dates a week consistently. Some of them start switching careers, start building businesses, make more money, etc. Because everything is related. Like the better your communication skills, the more you're gonna have the ability to persuade people and make more money and become a more just a more social savvy guy in general, which is going to open up a lot of doors in your life. Now, with dating, obviously, you're going to know what to do and how to do it. You're not going to have to guess what to do, or you're not going to have to wonder when you're like where your next date is going to come from. You're going to know, like, okay, if I do XYZ actions, I'm going to get X amount of dates, and you're going to have a system and a pipeline for your dating life that allows you to just date women consistently without wasting your time or sacrificing your work as well. So this is what we do here. And if you're interested, you can check the link in the bio. We have a lot of resources. We have a free training, and you can also pick a time with us and we can just talk about your situation, your goals, and show you more pragmatically based on your situation how you can put all these systems in place to get results. So if you're interested, then check out the link in the descriptions. And yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed this video. Just like, comment, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and see you very soon.